Millions of visitors flock to the Temple of Heaven in Beijing every year, drawn by its mystery, mystic, and magnificence. Larger than the Forbidden City, the vast Temple of Heaven is still the largest building in Beijing and known as the home of Imperial Feng Shui. Our story begins at Mount Tai, or Taishan, regarded as the preeminent mountain of the 5 sacred mountains of China. As early as the Ming Dynasty more than 3,000 years ago, successive emperors have visited the mountain to pray for peace and prosperity. In those days, Taishan was the only altar for the worship of heaven and earth, made through costly and elaborate sacrificial rituals on the summit and foot of the mountain respectively. These became known collectively as the Feng Shui sacrifices. Such was the spiritual and cultural importance of Taishan that many emperors chose to be enthroned here on mark important occasions. For example, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, proclaimed the unity of his empire in a sacred ceremony on the summit, the Jade Emperor Peak. The Yongle emperor of the Ming Dynasty established Beijing as his capital and power base. An entire city had to be constructed over 13 years by hundreds of thousands of workers. Included in the ambitious plans were the Forbidden City, the center of imperial power, and the Temple of Heaven, the center of spiritual power. Even as Taishan continued to be regarded as the birthplace of heaven and earth worship, it was symbolically transported to the Temple of Heaven and set within the East Heaven Gate as the 7 star stones. This was a group of 7 carved stones symbolizing the 7 peaks of Taishan. Given the sacred importance of the Temple of Heaven, it was meticulously planned, designed, and constructed according to rigorous Imperial Feng Shui principles. By drawing on divine power, the sovereign power of the emperor can be protected and magnified. In accordance to the Confucian records of rites, the Temple of Heaven was constructed in the southern suburb of the capital based on the principles of yin and yang, heavenly stems and earthly branches. This was further supported by Zhou Yi, the Book of Changes, the ancient manual for divination, which also prescribed a southern location to benefit from the yang force of the universe. The southern suburb of Beijing was considered location of yang. Using the 24 mountain compass, the southbound direction corresponds to the Bing Wall of the 10 heavenly stems, where all elements of yang concentrate, making it the optimum spot for construction of Temple of Heaven. This is why the Temple of Heaven is situated just east of the famous central north-south axis of Beijing, along which are Tiananmen, the Forbidden City, the Drum Tower, and the Bell Tower. The idea of a circle representing heaven and a square representing earth is represented throughout the Temple of Heaven. For example, the northern wall forms a semicircle, and the 3 other walls enclose a square. Major buildings have perfectly circular ground plans and are situated in square yards. To commemorate 600 years since the building of the renowned Temple of Heaven in Beijing, Imperial Harvest is proud to present the new generation of our Bliss of Harvest ring collection, showcasing our highest level of skill and craftsmanship. The Bliss of Harvest ring is arguably our most iconic collection, paying homage to the most famous Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest in the Temple of Heaven. It exemplifies the historic links between Imperial Harvest and our Imperial Feng Shui traditions.